Hi there, Marc Emery here. Hey, I just returned from an outstanding series of events in Toronto. I spoke at Idea City 2003, which is if you read their website, it says Canada's most brilliant thinkers, etc., etc. Anyway, 50 very famous people in various fields show up and make presentations. They're in the arts field, acting field. Rick Mercer was there, and Nicholas Campbell from Da Vinci's Inquest. Scientists, a guy named Joseph Penninger's there, a whole bunch of space astronaut guys. A Canadian astronaut, I must tell you whose name escapes me, was there speaking, for example. And famous writers, Jane Urquhart, and a Canadian General Romeo Dallaire, who was with the UN expedition to Rwanda in 1994. People on that stature. Anyway.
Are you intimidated, though, to be up there with, like, you know, serious scientists and stuff like that?
Yeah, thank God Rick's here.
Right.
And I feel like he's somewhat normal.
I had my grade in heaven.
Do you hope to see a lot of marijuana smoking at Idea City?
I brought about half a pound with me, so there's enough to survive all the parties. I think they enjoy the fact that we do entertain some of their guests with our fine BC produce.
I was a speaker. It's the second time I've been invited to speak. I was there in 2001. Anyway, I got a great response. I talked about the marijuana situation throughout North America and the world and how bad it can still be with people in jail, like Mike Patriquin in jail for 6 years, with Webster Alexander, who was about to be sentenced to 26 years in Alabama. You know, Loretta Knoll and I got that cut down quite substantially to, you know, really under a year, well under a year. And they were really impressed. And I talked about my iboga project that goes on in Vancouver here, and we're treating hardcore drug addicts with a plant extract from Africa called iboga, and how successful that is and how fascinating and interesting my work's been. Anyway, General Romeo Dallaire congratulated me personally, said he liked my work and was really admiring of what I was doing, and we had a nice conversation. One of my patients, for example, was a Canadian peacekeeper in the Congo in 1960 and saw people disemboweled and bludgeoned and brutalized to death, and this affected him in a lot of ways, like it does a lot of soldiers, and you know, we were able to have an exchange of ideas about these things. Anyway, after that was last Wednesday, and then the next day I led a big smoke out in front of the Toronto Police Headquarters. And of course, this had an incredible effect. I have never in my life had as many media as I did right that day record and for history, posterity, that in fact, it's legal to smoke marijuana in Ontario. It's legal to possess it. It's probably legal to sell it, and it's probably legal to grow it, because cannabis has been taken out of the Canadian Drugs and Controlled Substances and Drugs Act. So the protest in front of the Toronto Police Headquarters got covered on CNN, Reuters around the world. I've got interviews with Irish radio stations, Buffalo and Chicago radio stations. People all want to know how marijuana came to be legal in Ontario. And it made me think, you know, my friends at the hemp shop, Sweet Hemptations, in Dauphin, Manitoba, where all the hemp was originally grown, by the way, for, you know, in 1998, 1999, we had 30,000 acres around Dauphin growing industrial hemp. And because the DEA have caused so much trouble, unfortunately it's a great deal less than it once was. But the police raided Sweet Hemptations. They're good activists there. And it occurred to me, I should go on a cross-Canada tour. The Summer of Legalization 2003 Prince of Pot Tour. So here's what's happening. I am going to come to a community near you, or if you want me to come to your community and you could raise enough people to show up at your local police headquarters to smoke joints for an hour or so to demonstrate our point that marijuana is legal in Ontario. Marijuana is legal probably in all of Canada and should be legal in all of Canada. And if you're willing to help me push the message and push the point, then I am going to be appearing very soon in Dauphin, Manitoba, and probably a few days later in Winnipeg. So if you're in Dauphin and you want to help Sweet Hemptations and myself organize a smoke out in front of the police station, RCMP police station in Dauphin and Winnipeg, then I want to hear from you. In fact, I want to go to St. John's, Newfoundland, Halifax, Moncton, and after Parliament reconvenes, I want to be in Ottawa and we'll smoke out in front of Parliament. I want to go to Sault Ste. Marie for the weed stock, and is being held, instead of Madison, Wisconsin, it's being held in Sault Ste. Marie, along with Planetary Pride's summer festival there. I want to go to Sault Ste. Marie and have a smoke out in front of the police station in Sault Ste. Marie. I want to go to Prince George, Calgary, Saskatoon, and any place in Canada especially St. John's, Newfoundland. I've never been into Newfoundland, and they speak with such a charming accent there. And, you know, there's recently been a lot of arrests for marijuana selling and marijuana possession in Newfoundland, so we want to push that one there, too. You know, we want to make it a total cross-country Prince of Pot Summer of Legalization 2003 tour. So I need your help. If you're watching this show and you can get 20 to 30 people minimum who are really willing to show up and smoke pot in front of the local police station, because remember, it's definitely legal in Ontario. But whether other provinces honor that, we're going to find out, and you're going to find out with me. Now, I figure the worst that can happen is you'll get charged with possession, and ultimately, you know, you can get it dropped in court. You're looking at a fine mostly, but hey, you might be looking at a criminal record too. So, you know, there is some risk outside of Ontario. And we're going to be flagrant about it, and we're going to be giving them advance notice, so, you know, everybody will know what's going on. But I assure you, there'll be lots of media attention in each jurisdiction. And this is what we have to do. Ontario has legal marijuana for 5 months. The police chief has really ended up agreeing with us on this. They basically conceded there's nothing they can do about anybody possessing marijuana anywhere in Ontario. No charges will be laid. They can't take away your pot. And this will stay till mid-November. The earliest Parliament can recriminalize marijuana would be mid-November, and the earliest the Court of Appeal might rule against us and the verdict will come back will be mid-November. So now we've got the time is now, the iron is hot. Let me know. My email is marc@cannabisculture.com, marc@cannabisculture.com. I want to hear if you can organize a protest in your area that I can come and attend. Now, I have lots of things going on in my world, of course. I treat a lot of patients this summer with the iboga extract for their drug addiction, and those appointments have been made, and know you have to be on it. So I will be zipping back and forth across Canada for these events specifically. Hey, I'd like to go to Whitehorse too. Write that down on my list. Whitehorse. I heard Whitehorse is beautiful in the summer. And I haven't been to the Yukon, and I'd love to have a big smoke out at the police headquarters in Yukon, in Whitehorse, Yukon. So let's get that in there. I've got Saskatoon for Saskatchewan, Calgary for Alberta, Prince George for BC, Winnipeg and Dauphin for Manitoba, Sault Ste. Marie for another Ontario place, though that's kind of like an easy one since we know they can't charge us. But I don't know, Northern Ontario might be a bit different, so we've got to push it there too. Moncton, Halifax, and St. John's. I'm sorry, and if somebody wants to organize something in Charlottetown or Summerside, hey, I'm coming to Prince Edward Island as well. So, in fact, we'll write that, Summerside, Charlottetown. Okay, now, I'm willing to do my part. I'll bring some weed, but you've got to have some pot ready too. I'm going to be there. I'll give speeches. We'll get the media to come out. It'll be a good time. The Toronto event was remarkable. You know, about 25 to 200. I couldn't really tell. You know, when there's a string of cameras all around you, all you see is the media and maybe one row of people. I had no idea how many people are. I was told anywhere from 25 to 200 people showed up. Mostly you, the Pot TV viewers. Some of you I know drove from Windsor to Toronto. I know 4 people got that way. Other people came from Hamilton, Kitchener. In fact, most of the people at the rally weren't even from Toronto, and yet the number of people who showed up was so significant and important, it justified and gave credibility to the worldwide media that covered us. I mean, we were in every Canadian newspaper, except the Vancouver ones, which is strange. I guess they've had enough of me. But we were in London Free Press, Kitchener Waterloo Record, the Toronto Star, the Metro News in Toronto. We were on the National Post. We were on every major TV station. We were on the national news that night, CNN. We were carried in Reuters, and we've been broadcast in radio stations in France, in Sweden, in Ireland, in Great Britain, all telling people marijuana is legal in Ontario. Come and visit. So why should Ontario get all the breaks? Let's have people visit anywhere in Canada and feel that they can smoke marijuana without getting their pot taken away, without getting charged. So get hold of me. The Prince of Pot, All Canada, Cross Canada Tour is coming up. I'll probably be leaving for Dauphin in the next week or two. Get in touch with me. Let's organize it. Let's make something spectacular out of the Summer of Legalization 2003. See you there.